Mystery Booster 1 is one of my favourite draft products of all time. It's right up there with the first Modern Masters, up there with Battle for Baldur's Gate, it's up there with Conspiracy. It's just an incredibly fun sort of like a love letter to Magic and organised chaos draft. And at Gen Con this past weekend, we saw Gavin Verhey bring to Gen Con Mystery Booster 2, fully announcing it and then getting to draft it with content creators and players less than 24 hours after the initial announcement. And it was a sick bit of viral marketing. My social media was filled with cool things from Mystery Booster 2, and I'm incredibly excited to play this. It looks super sweet. However, I'm going to go in this video into all the positives about it. There's a lot of good stuff here. I'm really excited. But there's also a big downside, a big negative that I'm also going to focus on in this video. To get it out in front of you all, we're going to talk about a product here that I think looks incredible. I think it might turn out to be one of my favorite things that they've ever produced for Magic. Sadly, at present time, at time of recording, there's no plan to release it to the general public. The Prof asked directly with a tweet at Gavin Verhey, there's going to be a retail version of Mystery Booster 2, right? Right? Because there was a retail version of Mystery Booster 1 when they finally got around to having it at conventions and done. We got a version that showed up in stores and was draftable and buyable. You can buy a box of it right now. It's incredible. If you're looking for a draft set to play with your friends and you love old classic weird cuts from Magic, big recommend on Mystery Booster 1. Gavin said that Mystery Booster 2 is meant to be a special experience for players at conventions. These will be at cons of all types, Magic cons and more. Long term, like Mystery Booster 1, there will be lots of it. As an extension to the con experience, they'll also be in Festival in a box, available online. You'll be able to buy probably quite a good value deal to get Mystery Booster 2 alongside some Secret Lair stuff for some set price to deliver to your home. For those of us that can't attend a Magic Con or convention where this will be, it's not a great solution. To this, I said I hope you all consider, especially considering the lack of conventions outside of North America, to go away from my tweet here, Australia and South America in particular really struggle, and Europe isn't exactly like swimming in conventions where this stuff can get played either. Make it a timed exclusive, sure, but retail Mystery Booster was such a good move, fingers crossed. And Gavin, of course, pointed out that rollout and distribution of products is not his role or decision, as we know, as I know. And I'm certainly going to pass through the loud sentiment I'm hearing along to the people that do manage that stuff. Really appreciate all the feedback. And that's partly what this video is going to be about as well, as giving more of that feedback. Please let people play this set. It's such a love letter. It's such an incredible selection of things that should appeal to everybody. There's something for everybody, as I'm about to go into, but for some reason it's not for everybody. It's only for those who can attend a Magic convention or con. I'll go into this a bit more in a moment, but I think the idea of like putting this behind a huge paywall, the fact that you got to travel, get accommodation, get tickets for, and then buy into an event that will have Mystery Booster 2 in it is expensive. The average price of getting to a Magic Con and playing in it is probably upwards of £600. I'd imagine. I haven't done the exact math, but I can't be far wrong there. Anyway, all that and more in today's video. If you're looking to pick up a single or sealed product though, from things that aren't Mystery Booster 2 at this point in time, you can do so from CoolStuffInc.com. Get 5% off your order, help support the show with the code KENOBI at checkout, or via the link in the description below. Let's begin by talking about all the cool shit that's in Mystery Booster 2. Original Mystery Booster was about 1,800 cards. It was 1,694 cards, which is a huge set. The average Magic set is around 300 cards, right? And there's also 121 playtest cards. I'll come to those more in a moment. Coming to 1,800 cards. Gavin has confirmed that this set is bigger than that. And when Mystery Booster was primarily to do with new border cards, Mystery Booster 2 is doing everything from Mirage onwards, looking to include one card from every single set. That's like 150 sets, including dual decks and all sorts of weird cuts. Again, coming to that more in a moment. And straight out of the gate, let's show you something they are doing that is very strange. We're getting arena exclusive cards. Mardu Outriders are 3-mana 5/5 that says an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, and it's part of the arena starter decks. I did a video saying that I didn't like the idea that we had this Inspiring Commander or Captain or whatever it was called, and they were only available on arena because I like to keep the card pools combined, especially if the cards are makeable in paper. To see these cards finally come to paper all these years later just fills me with joy. I love this stuff. Deep cuts, bit of Magic history, a story time, something that someone like myself can talk to you about. I love it. Beyond that, there's some mechanically unique cards from Digital Magic, from Arena specifically, that are coming to paper like Oracle of the Alpha, but they're going to have a Acorn stamp in the bottom. Now, to go back and remind you all, the Acorn stamp is technology that they had sort of come up with that replaced silver borders for Unfinity, that tells us that this card is not legal outside of the environment in which it is drafted, and thus this is not going to be legal in Legacy or Vintage. But you do get a 3-mana 2/3 flying creature that when it enters the battlefield, it puts the power 9 in your deck. Yeah, you read that right. This card is going to be available for the draft format and also give people physical copies to play as, I guess, Rule 0 and Commander if you're an absolutely insane person like I might be, or in Cubes too. People were blown away by this being revealed on the stream, and I think this is a really good reveal to try and get like a really good humdrum and buzz about the game and this new format. This is kind of wild, right? How will it play in draft? Well, you're going to have to create proxies on the fly, draw on basic lands or similar, and shuffle them into your deck in sleeves. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's not that hard to get. The really funny thing is all the promo going into this, the stream on Weekly MTG, the reveal of the Oracle of the Alpha, the conversations across Reddit and Twitter and whatever other social media that you use to talk about and consume Magic the Gathering discourse. And then the vast majority of the people engaging with that discourse in those areas, even the most enfranchised, a large body of them will never get to go to a Magic Con or convention where this is available. And thus we come back to that point of this is such a fantastic love letter to what Magic is, to the stories and the histories of the game, to the intercontextual weave that we all sit in and consume YouTube content for and streams and social media for, and a large body of us won't get to play it. And I think that's fucking tragic. Please, Wizards, reconsider. Again, I'll go into that more in a moment. Next up, we've got Velucan Dragon in the Future Sight frame. So firstly, the Future Sight frame is back, which I fucking love. There's going to be one slot for the Future Sight frame in every pack and one slot for the playtest cards. Coming to that again in a moment. The Future Sight border is going to be cards that were previously not in the Future Sight border. So in this case, how about a Future Sight Brainstorm using the Mercadian Masks art that's incredibly popular? Yeah. We're going to get absolute staples, killer cards in the Future Sight border. And I personally love the Future Sight border, and seeing it come back is a bit of nostalgia for me, and it's a homage to a period of Magic that I loved. The border is derpy, right? If you don't know what it is, it came in Future Sight as a imagining of what Magic might look like in like 100 years. And funnily enough, there's this weird time paradox now where the Future Sight border is really just imagining what the weird futuristic border of Mystery Booster 2 was, 15 years later or whatever. So I love to see it come back, and I love the circular nature of the frame and how it frames certain arts and stuff. We're going to see some more in a moment. On top of all of that, Future Sight Brainstorm in foil is going to be worth a pretty penny. As a heads up, the foiling is going to be like old school Magic. So I think it's 1.1 foils per box. So that means you're just not going to get many from a box at all. And thus, when you open a foil Brainstorm in the Future Sight border with the Mercadian Masks art, you've opened a real hot ticket item, especially if this never comes to stores as general sale and continues to be a festival only thing. Also, on the top of the cards on screen, Velucan Dragon is a card from the Dreamcast version of Magic that came out in Japan. It is a card that was never actually on paper because it used some sort of dice rolling mechanics. Nowadays, dice rolling mechanics have been brought to the game via AFR and similar, and thus they can be put in. We saw that recently. One of the Angels got into a secret lair, did a whole video on it. It took them 14 years or whatever it was to get the Angel into the secret lair. And again, it took them longer to get Velucan Dragon printed in paper. But again, deep cut, and I love this stuff. I'm a boomer. I love deep trivia. This is fucking awesome. Demonic Consultation is a CEDH staple, coming with a unique new sort of humorous art here in the Future Sight frame, and I love it. I love some of the memey sort of like jovial but not completely and utterly irreverent style of humor that we're seeing in Mystery Booster 2. In many ways, what I would like to observe is that Mystery Booster 1 and much more to a stronger extent Mystery Booster 2 are the unsets that are designed for Magic players, where the unsets usually aren't very funny, have this like tertiary, irreverent sort of like canonical, clumsy, weird slapstick vibe to them. This instead uses jokes and content that we understand as Magic players that is a bit more subtle, like the playtest cards, for example. I much prefer this to the conventional unset. If anything, this might be the death knell for the unset. This is so much better. We've even got Acorn cards like the Oracle of the Alpha in here. And then they've got weird cards in here too. Hymn of the Wilds is a conspiracy. I don't actually know what slot this is in. I don't know which one it is, whether it's a Future Sight frame or a playtest frame. I don't know which sheet it's being printed on. It might just be in the Mythic Rare sheet. Either way, you can draft conspiracy cards and other cards like Cogwork Librarian from Conspiracy and use their unique draft mechanics. In the case of the first ever draft of this that happened at Gen Con, Covert Go Blue played a deck with this and won the entire event, which is It's awesome. This is so sick. And then there are the white border slot cards too. Again, a whole slot in every booster. You get one white bordered card, paying homage to the reprint-only sets of the past, where they made things white border in order to make them less desirable than the black border versions of them. In this case, the one I'm showing on screen, whiteout, does look like this. They just thought it'd be funny to put a white border on it and have the art whited out because it's a snowstorm, right? And again, this is the kind of joke that it's heavy-handed. I'm not saying it's subtle, but it just feels like it fits a bit better, and I find it much more enjoyable, even though I don't sound like like it, the tone of my voice, but I find it a lot more enjoyable than a lot of the rather weaker jokes we've seen in unsets and that have bled through to the current standard sets, for example. And the deep cuts keep on going. Ancestor Dragons are 6 mana 5/6 that gains you some life. It's not that good, but it's reasonable and limited. And this is from the Global Series Chinese dual decks that are only available in certain markets, and they've never had a reprint since. So this is like a $3 card, even though it's bad. And we're getting a reprint of it. Forked Lightning is a 4 mana, 4 damage, divide as you choose between 1, 2, or 3 targets, and it will look like this. That set symbol there is from Master Editions 3, a reprint only set available only on Magic the Gathering Online. But again, deep cuts. They're trying to use every set symbol from everything, and I love this. This is a love letter that I've opened, and my heart is full. I love this shit. This is a Horned Turtle from Portal that had alternate art in China for some reason. I don't know why. And it's never been reprinted since with that art. So why not take the vanilla creature, the vanilla 1/4, and reprint it in its original language with the original alternate art style, because there's no actual text on it. Great idea. Again, the wackiness that we get without it like feeling like Magic's having the piss taken out of it is awesome. And then using old art assets that haven't been utilized before. There's some shown on stream for things that have only showed up on Modo, I believe. But this one here, Urza's Lord High Artificer, is using a classic bit of Mark, Ted, and Urza art that actually doesn't show up on a Magic card until now. This is from the old Vanguard cards. They are sort of like an additional different game mode to play that was a precursor to Commander in many ways. Extra life, abilities on your command zone character. Either way, this is the kind of art that absolutely reminds me of classic Magic and classic Urza. This stuff is why I've got the Weatherlight tattooed on my arm, because this is the Magic that I grew up with as a kid, being enamored by their IP and their world. And to see Urza reimagined, but not reimagined, just imagined how he was before, like going back to that classic cut is, oh, it's good. It's member berries, it's nostalgia in all the right ways. At this point though, I will talk about another criticism I have got for the visual design of the set. This frame and how it fits this art is gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic. It's not quite as easy as just slapping the frame over a piece of art. There is some elements around the positioning of the art and the cropping and similar. One thing I would say though from the UI design is that the set symbol that appears specifically on the Future Sight cards and the test print cards is this mystery booster question mark. I don't think it works. It looks too much like a custom set symbol from a custom set thing online, making these cards look less legit than they probably should. It's probably how it overlaps the top of the circle on the Future Sight frame that bugs me the most, but I just don't like it. I don't think it's a good set symbol. It's not stylized enough, and it's positioned weirdly. Sorry. And then, of course, the playtest cards from the original Mystery Booster are back. These look like this. They're not actually paper stuck on a card. They're printed, but they're looking to emulate and look like a playtest card within the confines of the Wizard's office. This is the way they design and playtest sets, is to print stickers out onto old draft chaff and shuffle up and play with them. So it's to give you that. And these cards are all non-constructed legal, but they do very strange things. Glimpse, the Unthinkable is a card that looks to reference Glimpse the Unthinkable, a famous mill spell. But in this case, a 4/5 Shroud can't be chosen. That means cards that would choose them. And the name Glimpse the Unthinkable can't be chosen. It's just an absolutely unchoosable card, an untargetable card. It's a joke within the confines of Magic that has some rules that works with stuff. Mox Poison is the idea of a Moxen that creates any color of mana, but it poisons you. This is a thing that's been floating around on the internet for a very, very long time. I'm pretty sure I've seen this exact design on custom card designs before, things that Wizards are meant to ignore. But the really cool thing about this is that it's actually got sketched art by Dan Frazier, the person who did the original Moxen art. Again, just it shows a due care and attention to level of detail that shows that they care about Magic and they love Magic. And then you've got these other things that just like sort of riff on what Magic is. TLDR is in itself a joke around how wordy cards have gotten in recent time. A double black mana spell, instant exile target creature if it has any abilities other than keywords on it. And then it's got this fun little jab at like what keywords are and how landfall and scry aren't keywords, for example. And again, I can't gush enough about how much I love this kind of thing. It's the unset that we always wanted as Magic players. It's the unset that cares about Magic and makes the jokes about Magic as opposed to being clowns and custard pies and shit. And it's got like competitive legacy staples in it, like Wasteland in white border. This is uncommon, by the way, just to observe and highlight something. Although it's uncommon, it shows up just as frequent as everything else on the white border sheet, including like the white bordered Uro or Comet the Stellar Pup. It's just uncommon because that's what its original printing was, but it makes it no less rare or uncommon. It's one of on the sheet of white borders. So don't think that Wastelands and Daisies will show up more often. They just won't. But from legacy stables to CDH stables to commander cards to casual stuff that you can play with a rule zero conversation, it's like the entire gamut of what Magic is. The entire gauntlet of what Magic is. And like I said earlier, it's like there's something for everyone. However, they've designed the set this way, and then as a product, they've decided that it's not for everyone. It's a very exclusive convention experience. And this makes it prohibitively expensive to engage with. It's there and you can play it, but you have to spend a lot of money to do so. And one of the problems with Magic at the moment is there's a lot of have and have-nots. There's a lot of FOMO around things. Now, when it comes to just cosmetics, it's less of an issue. And I've heard people refer to how this is mainly cosmetics because obviously everyone is held up on the idea of future sight frames and white borders as the unique selling point of the set. But I'm actually, whilst that's all absolutely incredible, and I love the use of that stuff to create collectibles within the set, the draft environment, the play environment is actually more important to me. I shut my microphone with my enthusiasm. It's more important to me to get to play it, or to get other people to play it, and to realize how great Magic can be when it's weird and quirky and strange. And that's why it bugs me. It's not a cosmetic. This is not a secret lair or a randomized product with just like reprints in it. They've gone to great care to create a Looney Tunes like draft environment, a chaos draft environment, and that's the bit that's being locked away behind the paywall of conventions. Chaos drafts are getting harder and harder to do with all the old stuff because the old stuff is running out. They're not reprinting Mirage boosters anymore, right? So stuff like this that can replace that at conventions or at your local stores. Now, there is always the case that they could go back on this or just have this plan. They haven't said it yet. They could say that this is going to come to stores later down the line, and the reason they're holding back on that is because they want to sell you Festival Order box and they want to sell Magic Fest tickets. It's kind of dumb because Magic Fest tickets will sell anyway. They're incredibly popular and sell out before this was even announced. This is like a value add that adds to the prestige or allows them to grow those events to be larger, I guess. But I could see it as their marketing strategy to make sure that Festival on Box sells. Festival on Box might sell less if you know you're going to buy this without the other secret lair gumph at your local store. Also, I've been told that the boxes of this, or at least they've glanced at them. Okay, what I'm saying is, don't take this as gospel, but I've been told the boxes have barcodes on them, which suggests they're for sale in some capacity somewhere, right? That might be used for like procurement and event organizations somewhere along the supply chain, maybe. But the reality is barcodes are normally used at point of sale. I do believe they're going to, not make this mistake, and we will get the retail store version of this. And there'll be something missing from it. White border, future sight border, the playtest cards, something along those lines may be missing from the final product. Hell, even just not having foils. That's the best bet, right? The reason for this is that removing any of the three things I just mentioned removes part of the gameplay experience that I think makes this so cool, is the hodgepodge of ideas. If you remove just the fact that the foils are available, it makes the convention boxes have primo hits in them that kind of sell the EV of the box themselves, where the retail version doesn't have that. You've still got the play experience minus the collectability element, or small part of the collectability element, and that's the ideal situation to have. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Please don't fuck this up, Wizards. Please take this product that is incredible, designed for all Magic fans, and let all Magic fans engage with it and play with it. And in the meantime, support them going to your local store, because players playing in local stores keeps Magic alive. I've been Vince, or Pleasant Kenobi on the internet. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.